And we're on. Saludos y bienvenidos to the PGP podcast. Hey, greetings everybody. Happy Sunday. Josh Tobar, principal of Memorial Pathway Academy in Garland, ID, Garland, USA, ready to rock and roll. And welcome all of you to this awesome Sunday, this beautiful day in Texas. I don't know about your part. I hear that there's like a big winter storm in the East Coast, but whatever it is, it's a warm environment because all of us educators are here, connected together, part of the Fantastic Four family. Fantastic Four. Remember, this is a network of four podcasts. Number one, every Super Saturday, starting off at 10 a.m. Eastern Time with Coach Sean Hurd. So right now, I know you got Title I money. Hey, I know you got Title I money. Start investing on people like Sean Hurd because he'll break down the data. It doesn't matter what state that you're in. He'll break that down, look at your targets, bring you together, and he will do free. No, I can't speak for him, but he'll take free calls to see where you're standing. That's a great guy. He knows how to break down data. Call him. And after that, at 10:30, you got Tammy and Shika, the doctors, talking about culture, how they raise their schools, 3-letter grades in 1 year. What is that? Let me tell you, that's not easy. Let me tell you, that is not easy. And then the third show on Super Saturday, El Jefe, Principal Cafele, who will be and has been the last 2-3 years at NCMLE, Principal Baruti Cafele. And we are the fourth show of the Fantastic Four on Sunday, closing off the weekend, ready for a powerful week of learning. So remember to like and share right now. You know, Jefe says that, Tammy says that, Coach Hurd says, and I forget sometimes. Right now, stop. Like it and share it. Put it out there to make sure that all these awesome speakers today, their knowledge is spread out. And most importantly, the invitation goes out for this beautiful conference. This is part 2, last week and this week of the North Carolina Middle Level Educators Conference, and making sure that you're part of it. But you know what? I cannot say that. I've been connected mentally. Like, where's Mari? Mari, ¿cómo estás, Mari? Mari, I reached out on text. Are you okay today, Mari? I don't know. She was kind of perplexed last week. So, Mari Moreno, ¿cómo estás?
Oh, Josh, you know what, Josh? I really appreciated you kind of reaching out to me throughout the week, because you know what? That is, you never know when people just need a little pick me up here and there. So I appreciate you checking up on me. And I had a great time. I had a busy week. I'm home. My spiders are right here. So I am home in Houston, Texas. I have a couple of things here to get done here in Houston, Texas, and have some doctor's appointments. But other than that, Josh, I'm so blessed to be here and excited about this part 2 of the NCMLE conference session that we are discussing, and I can't wait to talk to our presenters today.
Yes, ma'am. And remember, if you want to be part of this podcast, welcome. This is not a niche show. We don't just talk about one thing. We just don't. It's just not us talking. Trust me, we hardly have individual shows to where her and I talk. It's always panels of different things. We have alumni shows. We have cafeteria, bus drivers, superintendents. We have a litany, and we need your knowledge. If you're in Maine, if you're in Florida, if you're in Alaska, if you're Hawaii, or anywhere in the 48, we need your knowledge because we're all facing the same obstacles, the same challenges, and we need you to be part of this dialogue to bring in this information, because iron sharpens iron. And you know what? This goes into my Chinchilawa moment before we bring in our panel. Chinchilawa. I know Charles is from Chicago. He doesn't know what Chinchilawa is. Chad, he's like, do you eat that at Taco Bell? Chinchilawa. David is like, you put that on tacos? No, Chinchilawa is a Mexican game. It's a Mexican game where it's during holiday seasons. Everyone brings all their family, and you can't believe that 1,000 people fit in a house, and everyone's eating and having adult beverages and spirits and whatever it is. But then all the kids, all the parents chase them out of the house. And they play Chinchilawa, and you put your grandma at the very bottom, and then you say Chinchilawa y arriba boy, and then you run and boom, you jump on top of your grandma. Then the next person, Chinchilawa y arriba boom, and because a human pyramid, and it's all fun and games. Everyone's laughing, until your little cousin falls down and breaks his head open, and the mom comes out with a bell and starts. It's all fun and games. Well, today's Chinchilawa moment is this: hey, we're getting close to that second part of the year where those nerves start getting raw. That second part of the year where we start being annoyed by the smallest things. People that leave the copier broken and don't tell anybody. I know, look, Iowa, you know what I'm talking about. You walk in and you haven't made copies, and that person before you broke it and never told anybody. Or the person that tries to change the toner on the copier and then leaves all that mess all over, and they just leave. You know what I'm talking about? Or that person that takes your lunch from the refrigerator. You know what I'm talking about. Well, specifically with our scholars. And this is a time to make sure that you put in a lot more credit on that credit card. What do I mean by that? If you know that Josh is misbehaving or not following the rules, whatever the objective rules for that class and that activity is, you got to make sure that prior to that, you already made positive calls to the parents. Mm-hmm. You got to make sure that you have embedded credit in that credit card, because we know that as educators, we're going to deduct from that credit card. And if you're not proactive and you're not calling, and then as an educator, you cannot say, you know what, this has been going on for 3 weeks. This has been going on for a month, and I let it go. And then you expect administration to be the first call home, because then the parent is going to say, what do you mean it's been going on for a month? Mm-hmm. What do you mean? No one called me. And then when the consequence isn't as high as you think because you've let it go for a month, that's not fair. That's not fair for anybody involved in the situation, because administration should not be the first call for a kid that has habitually made the wrong calls, the wrong comments, the wrong behaviors, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. You need to make sure you make that. But it's not about the consequence and the action by the child. It's about making positive calls before that. That way you hook in the parent and they're part of the solution, because we know educators, when you're sitting on your TikTok and you're crying how much you hate education and you destroy our field because you're complaining about parents, hey, you know what? That parent wants to know too. You can't blame the parent and leave them in a void and all of a sudden expect magic to happen. We need to work together as a pyramid. The kid is responsible, the educator is responsible, administration is responsible, and we're all united in the same journey, making sure that our scholars are successful. So make those positive phone calls. I'm not here to blame anybody. I'm not here to call out anybody. I'm just saying communication is key. Just like people say administration needs to communicate more. Hey, you know what? That's a thing for everybody. That means parents need to communicate with us. Kids need to communicate with us. We all need to make sure and always assume, most importantly, assume positive intent. Because if we go in with a negative mindset, a negative thought mentality, that's where those clashes come in. And that's where that teacher, and I'm starting to see it again on TikTok, you're sitting in your car, you're crying, you're blaming everybody that you get no support. Okay, you know what? A situation requires more than one action. And you know what? I can tell you more often than not, we're all in it in the same, and with the same focus, the same goal, which is student success and making sure that our team members feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that, Dr. Moreno?
Josh, I love the fact that you're again bringing this up, because this is not the first time you've mentioned this. You've mentioned a lot. But you know what? I was thinking when you were talking, a good time to actually reach parents is after school, when they're doing dismissal duties or they're picking them up, just saying hello, hey, how are you? What's going on? Just again showing your face. When they're at the basketball game, parents show up to see their children play on the basketball team all the time, right? So just showing up and seeing them, and if you see them, it's a great time just to say something positive. Hey, I see your child's playing out there. He's doing such a great job, yada, yada. So sometimes it's just trying to get access to them, because sometimes, again, they make that phone call and sometimes they don't even want to pick up, right? So I get it. As a parent myself, I totally understand. But again, I'm just trying to think of ways in which we can kind of access our parents when they are there, because they always are going to be there to find their child in the theater team or on the, on different kind of events that they do. And if they're not that child, then yeah, you're gonna have to make that phone call and do positive things. So I'm totally agree with you. It's very important to have those relationships with our parents, so that when we need them, they're gonna be with you when we need them to redirect their child.
And as it was stated many times for many years, it takes a village.
Yes, it does.
It takes a village to educate our scholars, and that means being in constant communication more often than not in a positive way than when they commit offenses. And this
Mhm.
is today bringing in our panel. Last week we had the first group of presenters: Darren Pepper, Charlie Peck, Joshua Stamper. We had them last week, and this week we have top notch. The big kahuna David James is here today. Charles Williams is here. You don't fall in love with his voice, guys. And if you do fall in love with his voice, you better go to North Carolina and get his autograph. Chad is here, and then Maverick, Mr. AI, 80s trivia man, the DOK #1 man. Welcome to the show, panel. Love you. Muchas gracias por estar aquí. Moreno, stick.
Awesome, guys. I'm so excited to have all of you great gentlemen on the podcast this evening, because I'm excited to hear about all of your sessions. And David, we got the man. We got the man to tell us all about the NCMLE conference today. So we're excited to have you guys here today. But before we get on to any questions or sessions or information about the conference, we got to let the audience know, who are we. So Charles, I'm going to start off with you, because I love your voice. I love your voice. So Charles, we'll start off with you. Let the audience know what's your current role, and a brief background on the different roles you've served while in education. Which one was your favorite and why?
Oh man, so I've been in education now for about 20 years. I'm currently serving as a strategic advisor for Skybound Education. We are a consulting company based out of Indianapolis, serving schools and districts all across the state and pushing beyond those boundaries. But in my 20 years, I've been a teacher, I've been an AP, I've been a principal, and I really think that if I had to narrow it down to a specific spot, it would be elementary principal. And I just loved that space. One, because like you are a constant rock star when you're a principal at an elementary space. But I just loved the energy in the excitement, right? There's this time when kids are coming in where they're still excited about learning. They're happy to be at school. And I got to go in and play with them. And as a grandfather, I got conditioned there because I would go in and I got to play. And then I had to run away and then apologize to the teachers because I got the kids all riled up. But it was my favorite spot. I don't think I ever left. Like, I don't want to do this work anymore.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Elementary principals are rock stars. You're right. Absolutely. Love it. Love it. Love it. Chad, how about you? Tell us a little background about you, who you are, and what's your favorite role and why?
Yeah, well, like Charles, I've been done all the things in education, and I would say my favorite thing is whatever I'm doing at the time, which is now I get to serve incredible educators all over the country and world, helping them to get better. Like that's like, and I don't have to deal with the things that I didn't enjoy so much when I was in central office or principalship or teacher or whatever, right? Don't have to deal with paperwork and board meetings and reports to the State Department and internal politics and all those types of things. I just get to help people get better.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Chad. Appreciate you. Eric, how about you? Tell us a little background on you, sir, and the different roles, and which one was your favorite and why?
Well, I've been in education for over 30 years. I've been a classroom teacher, site administrator, worked at a state education agency, been doing professional learning service support for the last 14 years. But I got to tell you, the best one I had, time I had was when I was a teacher. When I was really boots to the ground, when I was in there with the kids and really, trying to figure out how to teach them by reaching them and reaching by teaching them. So that's I miss that a lot. I miss working with the kids, and I'm glad when I get to go and do classroom walkthroughs, I get to talk to the kids and engage with the kids and find out what they're learning. It's funny. I tell the teachers, I say, when I go do walkthroughs, I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at the kids, and I want to hear from them.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And the man of the hour, David, tell us a little bit of background, sir.
Hey everyone, I'm David James. I've been in education for about 15 years. I'm originally from Ohio and moved to North Carolina in 2010. I've been in the classroom for 10 of those years. I went an administrative route for just a little bit, missed the classroom, missed being with kids. So now I'm back in the classroom, and my favorite role is the conference director of NCMLE during the conference, because man, what a ton of work. Meeting all you guys, the marketing piece, the advertising, the schedule, the registration. It is a ton of work. We got a tremendous team at the North Carolina Association for Middle Level Education, and it is a weight off my shoulders and a tremendous feeling when it comes together in late March every year. We're going to talk a lot about that tonight, but that is my favorite role.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. And you know what? We can't wait to hear more about it, especially now that we have David in our session today, because he's going to give us all of the background and all of the goodies that we can all expect on the day of or that weekend of the conference. So super excited, Josh, to have everybody here.
Very true. I'm sorry I don't have a producer to do all this clicking in the background like Shika and Tammy. They hire people. I ain't got budget for that, so I'm just doing all this clicking right here. But hey, real quick, let's do that little peeling of that onion back a little bit. We're gonna start off with you, David James, because you know what? I know a lot of you have been on podcasts before. I know a lot of you know you, but we know for a fact that there's such a huge exodus in education that you might have told the story before, but there's people that don't know. We know each other because we're in a niche. We're in a group of communication, a PLN of speakers, authors, podcasters, and stuff like that. But there's a lot of people that I've met that don't know who Jimmy Casas is. I know that a lot of people that don't know who Baruti Kafele is. They don't know because people are leaving. You're right. That's what I said. I'm like, come on, bro. How could you not know that? Todd, you don't know who Todd Whitaker is, bro. Really? But you know what? That's a fact. And so when we ask these questions, it's because you might be new to somebody else. So David James, who or what made you or brought you into education? And part number two of this question, how crucial were your parents in making you or supporting you to reach this current level in your profession?
I'm going to start there because I happened to see my parents today. They traveled down this way to visit some of our family, and I was able to connect with them today. But every time my parents talk to me, the first question is, how's the school going? How's the school year going? How's the conference coming? So they are tremendously supportive of what's going on every single day. They know how hard I work. My mom's probably watching now on her Facebook feed, but they know how hard I work at it. They know that it's really important to me. They know that everything I do is for the students in my classroom, but also pushing it forward, because the work that I do also trickles down to my little guy who's in third grade, right? So the inspiration that I provide, the inspiration I could provide to other teachers I'm hoping can make its way into the elementary buildings, into those that are pushing my little guy forward as well. And that's why I do it ultimately. I went to Ohio University in 2000, graduate in 2007, and that's where I kind of got my education career. And I didn't quite fall in love until probably student teaching. And then once I got into student teaching and some substitute work right after school, and then my first job, I just fell in love with working with the students. I have been in middle school for 15 years. And when I talked to Jimmy Casas recently, he looked at me and said, "You're crazy. There's nobody that has the patience like middle school teachers do." And he's right. Middle school of the most phenomenal educators in the business, the patience, the flexibility, everything that we push forward every single day is just just inspiring. So that's why I do it, and that's why I did it, and that's why I continue to do it. My role with NCMLE has allowed me to connect with you guys and connect with others. I did not have any idea when I started in 2010 that I would have this opportunity to connect with people all around the country. But through the conference and through everything with social media, talking to Baruti and Jimmy and Todd and some of those individuals you just mentioned, and then you guys on a daily basis has just really pushed me forward and keeps me inspired as well. One of my other second favorite roles is probably my lead mentorship role in my school building. So I'm the lead mentor of 15 beginning teachers in my building. And that is just something that I really take personally as well, because they're the future. And when you talk about people getting moved out, I take that personally when I can bring all 15 back into a second school year, and then the next cohort back into the next school year. Something I really take personally because I know how important it is.
Thank you for sharing those beautiful thoughts. And you might reach out to that guy right there, because he created something special in his campus where it's teacher-led PD. If you want to know, reach out to that guy. And they're not coerced into it. They want to do it. So it's very cool. It's a very great idea. Big shout out to Constance Sherrard. Thank you for being here. Our number one coach and cheerleader, Dot McKeever Jeter. Thank you for being here. Sean Hurt, El Coach. He heard me talking about him. His ears were warm, so he's here. Thank you for joining us. Principal for 2 months, Dr. Edwin Garcia from New Jersey. Todd Feldman, thank you for being here. Diana Pecorino from Garland, thank you for seeing you here. Valerie Macy, thank you for being here tonight. Maverick, Mr. Van Halen, number one star right here of the 80s trivia. Let us know, how did you get involved in education, and how crucial were your parents part of that formula?
Wow. So I'll start with my parents. My parents have always instilled with me the value of education. They worked not as teachers, but they worked actually at the state education agency level. My dad and my mom worked for the New York State Department of Education in vocational rehabilitation, working a lot with making sure kids with special needs and kids with disabilities have the opportunities to learn. In fact, there's a lot of stuff coming out about my dad now, I'm proud to say, because he was one of the leaders in the civil rights movement for the disabled. And if you look in the community and you see people who are working in stores or in different jobs with disabilities or special needs, my dad actually created that program out in New York. So education has always been, a very big thing with my family. As for me becoming a teacher, this wasn't my first choice. Actually, it's my second career. I actually worked in the film industry before I became a teacher. And what does it say that I'd want to leave being the second assistant for a big name producer in Hollywood to become a classroom teacher? What does that say about the difference between Hollywood and education? So, I think to me, never, I don't look back. And it's funny, I don't look back with regrets. I mean, I'm glad I made that transition, and being a classroom teacher actually provided me the opportunities for what I have right now. I don't think I'd be where I am and doing what I'm doing if I didn't have, that opportunity to be a teacher, the opportunity to be a site administrator, which I'll admit I was not very successful at. I once told somebody, I'm the prime example why you need mentorship in your first year of leadership, because you're thrown into the job and you're expected to make no mistakes and held accountable for all the ones that you do. And but that lack of success put me on a path. I wouldn't have written the books I've written. I wouldn't have become the professional development producer and provider I have if I didn't have that experience. So, but every day I'm glad to say I was a classroom teacher, and I still am a teacher. My students are a little bit older. They're a little harder to teach, because if you think professional development to adults is easier than teaching children, give me a bunch of middle schoolers any day over that. So I believe in education. I believe in this profession, this practice, and I believe in this system. And I believe that we can, rethink it, and not rethink it to fix it, but rethink it to move forward and progress. And there's a lot of things we need to rethink about. And there's a lot of things, not tweak, but transform. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell, pretty much.
Very cool. And if you need to know about questioning techniques, that's the guy. But he'll talk to you about that in a little bit. Chad, bienvenido. Welcome to the PGP podcast. Let us know what got you into education and how important were your parents on this journey?
Well, yeah, my parents were incredibly important. They're both educators, just like the kind of common theme here that we've got educator family. They actually tried to kind of steer me away from education a little bit, but I didn't take their advice in this realm. So I had some great teachers in high school, as many of us have had. And I had a particular music teacher, Virgil French, and he was able to get people to become more than what they even thought they could become. And so I love music. I thought education might be a good place to go. I knew I couldn't make it as a performer. In order to be a music performer, you have to be really, really, really good. And I knew about myself, I wasn't going to be able to get that good. And so the way I could be in music was part of education. And so that's the path I went down, and have never looked back. So there you go.
Thank you for sharing. Exactly. We all that call. Exactly. Love it. Love it. Joven from Illinois, soon to be the Hampton Bears. Welcome to the show. Yeah, Chicago. Sorry, bro. We're going to call them the Hampton Bears. All right. Talk to us.
Hey, guys. So, I'm going to go a different route. Like, my family was not in education. In fact, I was the first one to graduate from high school, right? The first one to get an advanced degree. But as I was going through this process, my grandmother, who never finished high school, she kept telling me, like, you're going to be an educator. And I was like, absolutely not. There's no way I'm going to do this work whatsoever. And I landed in it not because that was where I wanted to go. And I tell people this all the time. When I graduated from college, I was a single dad, 2 girls, and I had 2 jobs lined up in front of me. And one was a temp job. One would end in 6 months, and the other one was in the school, but it was doing PR work, which is actually what I went to school for. So I went and I did that route. And at some point they were like, hey, can you teach this English class, which was my second major? And I absolutely fell in love with it. And I just continued down that pathway, right? Stuck around to the transition to teaching, got my master's, became an admin. And I remember my grandmother just kind of like, yeah, I told you this is what you were going to be doing. And I was like, yeah, you didn't know, right? She knew. But I ended up in this space not because that was the pathway that was laid out. Like it was out of a means to an end. But I absolutely fell in love with it. And what I can attest to today is that it literally is the key to break that cycle of poverty, to get you out of those spaces, because I can now provide a life for my family that I did not have growing up. Right. And it was the way out. And so I tell my students all the time, the people that I work with, like, I was in those spaces that you're in, and look where I'm at today. Like, it wasn't easy, but you too can get to there. Right. And I credit all the work all the things that I've accomplished to those people believing in me, to my grandmother pushing me through, and the fact that I pursued education. I know we talk about some people wanting to go towards a career, towards the military, and everybody has their own paths. But for me, education served that critical component. And I mean, it has made a world of a difference.
Thank you for sharing. So true, brother. And we need to go back to the barbecue place, man, after the conference. That was a great barbecue.
That was
place.
wonderful.
It was, man. The conversation was better, brother. So you're all invited to join Charles and myself to some barbecue in North Carolina after that. So thank you. Welcome to the show. Out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Dr. Melissa Jones-Chunu. Thank you for being today part of the Fantastic Four family. Dr. Moreno, stick.
Oh my goodness. I can't wait to learn a little bit more about this conference, and we're going to get right to it. I'm going to start off with you, Chad, because let me tell you one thing about this NCMLE conference. I've been to multiple national conferences all over the country. And let me tell you, nothing has the feeling like the NCMLE. It feels like a international conference. It feels like a national conference, but it's not. I just love the fact that it feels like that. It has the vibe. I am not a number. I was there last year. I was not a number. I felt welcome. I felt like everybody knew me. And that was because I was from Texas. And so I just love the feeling of the whole vibe that the NCMLE conference gives us. So I just had to make sure I said that, because again, I know you guys are going to talk a little bit about like your how you got involved with NCMLE. So we're not necessarily talking about your session just yet. I just want to know, how did you guys get involved? Because I got involved because these 2 people next to me called me and said, hey, you got to come check it out. And so I went. And so I'm just curious, Chad, how did you get involved with the NCMLE conference?
Well, same thing. That guy right up there, David James, through social media, reached out to me a couple of years ago and said, "Hey, would you be willing to come and be a featured speaker?" And when you get invited to be a featured speaker, you do a little bit of research to find out, what kind of a conference is this? What kind of reputation does it have? And so I did all that and thought, that seems legit. And boy, oh boy, just like you described, it is legit. So it's all due to that gentleman right up there.
I'm telling you, when he brings people from across the country and he brings them all to this one space, it just has that national vibe. I love that.
Yep.
Super
Yep.
awesome. Thank you for sharing, Chad. Charles, how about you? How did you get involved with that cat up here?
Yeah, I mean, it was very similar. I remember opening up, I think it was an email one day, and I was just like, wait, what? Like, and this was still me in this imposter syndrome space. Like, they want me to come to North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw some of the other individuals who were going to be there, and I was like, I just want to be in the presence of greatness. And I remember going to that first conference and sitting there, and I know I shared this with David, but I remember us all sitting around and just kind of like, this is ridiculous. Like, I mean, we'd all been speakers at conferences all across the country, massive conferences, but to have that many powerful individuals sitting in one space at the same time. And like, none of us were there because we're getting paid huge bucks, right? We all volunteered our time to come out and connect with all the educators of North Carolina. And it was just incredible to sit in a space with so many names that I've seen on social media. And, when I had the opportunity to come back, I was like, absolutely. So I'm honored and proud to say this is year number 3 for me to be returning to the NCMLE. And if you have not been, like, you truly do not know what you're missing. Like, it is, when we talk about a big feel in a small space, like I don't know anybody else who's pulling this off. So kudos to you, David. And just, again, thank you for allowing me to be a part of it.
I cannot disagree at all with you, Charles. What you described is that feeling of being around these I call them the high rollers, right? I was like, wow, you're here. What? You're here. I've heard about you. And it was that vibe that I had last year. It was such an amazing place. So thank you so much for sharing. Eric, I'm going to go to you next. How did you get involved with the NCMLE conference?
Well, I think, Dave, if I remember, I presented for you guys, and I always go and I send out and stuff and apply, and it's basically have a forum, we'll provide the PD. That's a big thing. And then you and I just kind of connected, and then you started inviting me back more and more, and I really appreciate that. And David, I think really the great thing about your conference over other conferences, and I'll just say this, is that you feel very welcome. And you don't feel a lot of times at conferences, you got the keynote and then you got everybody else. And you don't feel that way at NCMLE. Like, everyone, there's no, lack of a better word, caste system. There's no, here's the big top, here's the feature speaker, and then here's all the sideshows. And the other great thing is that you invite us, and you understand that we want to share ideas. We're not there to sell, and we're not there to promote, and we're there to help. And I think that's the thing about with your conference, is that we feel welcome, and hopefully, you feel like we contribute back to make education solid in North Carolina. I've worked with a lot of schools there. You have a lot of great schools, a lot of great systems, and really, the fact that we can come there and see not just the educators that we're working with, but also see the ideas and strategies that we develop start to be implemented in your schools and work. That is the best takeaway we can take away for this. So, David, thank you, and thank you for all the years that we've been doing this. And hey, I hope we keep on doing this and till we can't do it anymore. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. Thank you so much. So, David, your question is obviously going to be very different because, sir, you are NCMLE, right? You're the one who contacts all of these phenomenal speakers across the country, and you're like, come over. And guess what? We do. We go and we visit and we see, and it's like addicting because we want to come back year after year. So again, David, talk to us a little bit about the organization. Talk about the history, and like, how do you do it? Like, how does it make? How do you make this such a phenomenal conference every year?
Yeah, it brings a smile to my face every time that somebody really hypes up the conference and our organization. NCMLE is the only middle level advocacy group in North Carolina. And our mission statement is to essentially advocate for middle level education. And that's what we are all about. And the NCMLE conference every March is kind of the culmination of all the hard work we do every single year. And we have over 400 individuals and over 80 presentations that kind of span over 3 days that come, and they just learn, they network, and we have some fun while we're at it as well. It is a phenomenal just time, school year, kind of that end of March feeling where I know Josh was talking earlier about this second semester is rolling, it's rolling. And then we need like a breath of fresh air. And the end of March kind of provides that. And like I said, over 80 PD sessions that are all very middle level specific. We have a school leadership strand that our school leadership individuals can come and learn as well. We hope that they bring some of their teachers with them, obviously. And then we have a trivia night. We have a Monday night mixer with a DJ. We have all the meals are provided. So it is a big undertaking, but it all just kind of culminates, like I said, into one really, really uplifting gathering of middle level educators across the state. It is for North Carolina people, but if you are from Virginia or South Carolina or a neighboring state or from Texas, and you would like to come and join us, you are certainly welcome. I get questions all the time. You know, I'm an elementary teacher. You know, it's a middle level organization that puts on middle level PD, but there are certainly takeaways from the K through 12 standard, right? So it is just, and I think you hit on the head. It is a nationally renowned conference in a very small scale. And I really appreciate all the comments that everybody gives us. One other thing, a big takeaway is that it's in Charlotte. And Charlotte is kind of a really nice hub for people that are maybe flying in, maybe driving across the state. It is a really beautiful city that everybody can come and enjoy. We got plenty to eat. We got plenty to do. And then we're going to learn a little bit while we're at it as well. So, you know, everything is active right now. Registration is active. Our hotel block is still active. So I'll share that link in the chat here in just a moment. But we are really looking forward to 27 days to go until the 2026 Moving the Middle Forward Conference. It is our 52nd conference, which is a phenomenal landmark opportunity for everybody to come join us. And it just keeps getting better every single year. We're really proud of it. I've got a tremendous team of NCMLE volunteers. I want to say that again. These are volunteers that do this every single day, that are on the text thread, on the email. This nonprofit organization is really proud to advocate for students and teachers at the middle level program. So shout out to all the NCMLE individuals that are on this call, the work that they do behind the scenes. I get to sit here and talk to you guys, but absolutely everything they do is just so inspiring. So looking forward to seeing everybody March 22nd through the 24th. I'm going to let these guys talk a little bit more because they're better than me at doing it about their sessions.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. And, you know, David, I am going to commend you over and over again because it is hard. It is hard work to put on a conference. I know I've done it. And it is difficult kind of putting everything together and the schedule and everything. So kudos to you and your entire team. Guys, like it and share it, please. If you haven't already done so, do it, because we need to build that algorithm. Because let me tell you one thing. The middle level always gets forgotten. We always forget about that middle level education, right? So when you say, David, you know, it's good for everybody, you need it for your elementaries and know where your students are going, right? They're going to middle school. So you want to kind of understand what does that mean? And high school, let me tell you, you need that foundation. You need that support. So I just love the middle level education. I know you were talking about being an educator for an elementaries or a middle school forever. Principal, 18 years in a middle school. So I get ya. It's such important area that we can definitely kind of grow your primary and of course get your kids ready for high school. So Josh, super excited to have these phenomenal people with us.
Very true, very true. And don't forget, if you didn't see last week's show, that was part 1, other speakers. So check out last week's show on YouTube. You can find it right there at Josh Tovar. So now it's time It's time, gentlemen. You know when you go to Costco or you go to Sam's and you're walking by and they scoop lasagna in that little plastic container, or they scoop some kind of frozen yogurt on there and they just want to give you a taste, just a little taste. So you go buy that big bag you'll never finish. Oh, I want you to give a little taste right now to everybody out there about your session, Senor Carlos. Tell them a little bit about your session.
Yeah, well, I'm fortunate enough to have 2 different sessions, one in each pathway. For the leadership session, it's really about a lot of the work that I've been doing lately. Part of the reason I'm wearing this shirt, it's just how do we maintain ourselves sustainable leadership? And so it's talking about how do you do this work without burning yourselves out? Because so oftentimes we talk about what do you do when you're burnt out? And I'm like, why do we got to get to that point? And so really focusing on 3 different pillars of clarity, capacity, and care, and just how do you do this work sustainably? Because just like our teachers, when we talk about teachers leaving quickly, right, that 5-year window, school leaders are no better. But we need good leaders in spaces for long periods of time, especially if we expect work to be maintained. And so that's the first one. Stronger schools start with you. And then the other one is talking about building belonging. And so this is really on the teacher space. And what we're talking about is understanding the dynamics within your classroom, because so many of us, we have students who are coming in. Well, I don't know about in your spaces, but I know in the Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana area, there's a lot of transiency. And when students are moving around, right, it's easy to say, okay, you're part of the class, right? We're family, we're this and we're that. But just because I'm present doesn't mean that I feel like I belong. And so how do I intentionally create spaces to make sure that you feel that you belong here? And oftentimes, and this is kind of the pivotal piece for this session, we look at it as, well, what are you doing? Right? What are you doing to fit in? What are you doing to belong? What are you doing to really move into this space? But recognizing what is the power that I have as the teacher to create spaces where someone is allowed to truly belong in that space. And so really looking forward to doing both that work, sustainable leadership, as well as creating spaces of authentic belonging.
Bam. Bam. Senor Maverick, tell the audience about your sessions, joven.
Well, it's interesting. David asked me to do some things with questioning, which I love to do and do 2 sessions with it. But David, I'm going to give you a little bit of a surprise about what I'm going to do with that second one you asked me to do. Okay. Because I've been thinking about it. So my first session is going to be based on inquiring minds want to learn. So what I'm going to be doing is teaching teachers what does it mean to teach and learn with an inquiring mind? And what if I told you that by the end of that session, you'll be able to put your lesson plan on this index card and have one question drive your lesson plan. But Dave, you asked me to do, now that's a good question as well. And I've been thinking about it. What if I told you that I'm going to do, now that's a good question with all the questions from my first book, but I'm going to gear it towards AI. Because what I'm seeing out there is AI is not producing what we're looking for, the stuff we're looking for. And I know we want to ask good questions. And a lot of times AI is out there giving us these things that are not even questions. So what I'm going to do is talk about, now that's a good question, and different questions you can ask, but I'm also going to talk about how you can go into AI and say, come up with 10 analytical questions that I can ask the students about cells, or come up with 10 hypothetical questions I can come up with about the American Revolution, or come up with 10 evaluative questions I can come up with about the outsiders. So I'm going to teach what the different types of good questions are and how you can train AI to come up with those good questions you can ask your students. If the kids are going to get the answers from AI, why don't we go and get the questions? Or to quote my favorite wrestler, Roddy Piper, just when you think you have the answers, I change the questions.
Bro.
David, you like that?
Bro, you can't go wrong. Bro. You can't go wrong when you bring up Hot Rod. Love it, brother.
Right.
Love it. Chad, right. Senor Chad, talk to the audience.
Yes, sir. So we all know that terms fly across society, and the faster they go, the less meaning they tend to have. And one of those terms that has flown across educational discourse is PLC, professional learning community. It took off about 25 years ago, And ever since then, basically, if you've got two people who are in the same room breathing the same air, we call them a PLC. And it's not. It's a team. And a team is the engine for improvement in a professional learning community. However, with teams, same thing. We throw people together and we say, hey, go be a team. Good luck. How do we take and move from collaboration or congeniality and transform into collaboration? And so I'm going to share simple habits to transform collaboration. Two big buckets, if you will, of areas we're going to focus on. One is who you are as a person. What are mindsets and assumptions that are important to hold in order for you to be an effective collaborator? And then thinking about who you are after the mindsets and assumptions, then we'll dig into some simple actions. We'll probably dig into a handful of 40 specific actions that I've identified that are simple go-to ways to transform yourself, to transform relationships, and transform collaboration.
Wow, bro. Hey, I'm engaged. I'm gonna go to your session for sure, brother.
Bring it on, baby. Let's
your
do
delivery is awesome, brother. I don't know if hopefully you and Charles are not at the same time, because that's hard to pick right there. But you know what? Hey, David, is there anything in regards to the overall concept of the conference you like to mention? Because I know you don't have. I don't know if you have a session or not. I haven't seen that, but is there something you like to add, or big umbrella?
Yeah, so the four of you will be at our Sunday roundtable, and that starts on Sunday evening, which is March 22nd at 7 o'clock. So everybody on this panel, and then I believe last week's panel as well, which included Darren, Charlie, and Joshua, will be part of Sunday's roundtable discussion. So that's where we can kind of do lightning round questions for our featured speakers, and then they can give kind of some really short tidbits of information and kind of push their sessions as well. You guys, I got Charles at 10 o'clock on Monday and at 2. Charles and Chad are not at the same time. So there you go, Josh. You can catch them both on Monday, Eric on Monday, and then Josh, you're on Tuesday morning. So we've got 3 days there of learning from everybody. And I mentioned Darren Peppard and Charlie Peck and Joshua Stamper as well are part of our feature speaker group. I also want to make sure I mention Principal Kafele, who will be there in the house, LaQuanda Nelson, the boss educator, Christopher Culver from Oklahoma will be joining us again for a second year. Julie Hasten, which is homegrown in North Carolina, professor at App State University. She'll be back with us this year. And Katie Powell, also coming back this year, who is a member of AMLE, which is our mother affiliate Association for Middle Level Education. So we are an affiliate of them, AMLE, but she is a huge supporter of us in North Carolina. So those are just a few featured speakers in the house, but I also want to highlight all the educators that are coming into North Carolina that are boots in the ground, that are teaching every single day, that are providing sessions as well. So we wouldn't build this conference if it wasn't for them and providing all the PD that they learn from their building and pouring into our educators in North Carolina. So I know I mentioned it before, but we have 80 plus sessions total over 3 days. The schedule I have linked in the chat here. That is the overarching schedule in general that you can kind of pick and choose what you want to do and where you want to go. But the master calendar of all the sessions will be live here in just a few weeks. So we are still working hard on that. That is a huge puzzle to put together.
Yes.
I've got a great team, like I said, that is all putting that together. And all those details are going to be launched pretty soon on our social media accounts.
Thank you very much, David, right there. And I mentioned this last week, and I'll say it again. The young version of Josh, when he started in administration back in the Jurassic period, you would hear comments about, hey, you know what, you need to pay to go to your conferences. You got to take out of your pocket to go visit. And I'm like, I ain't gonna pay. What would I pay? That's young, immature thinking, because it's crucial that you fine tune your thought process, let alone your leadership style or your delivery of instruction. Because a lot of times, it's my experience, 2 cities and 3 districts, that there's a thought process, a mentality in a district. There is a thought process and mentality in a state. And once you break out of those chains and that silo mentality, because it is, if you're only in one district, and when you go to the adjacent district, you're like, oh my God, we never did that here. You have a new way of thinking about education, let alone if you go to another state and you are shoulder to shoulder with your peers and your colleagues, that they say, oh no, we do it like this over here. And there's more ways of success by having those conversations. And so if the shoe fits, wear it. You need to invest in yourself. You need to invest in your progress. You need to become the better version of yourself, because I know that you tell that to your kids. You tell your kids about growth mindset. You say that, so practice what you preach. And that means sometimes you got to break out of your sphere. You got to break out and hear what other people think. And in regards to this, in closing on my thoughts, before we start promoting different things that you might have, right now, myself, I do pay for a lot of the conferences that I go to, because we're broke. We know in education, don't matter, Arizona, you're broke. Illinois, you're broke. New York, you're broke. Everyone is broke, all right? The days of sending 5 or 6 people to Las Vegas to a conference, those days are dead. They're gone. Now we have to make sure that we find the right fit. And let me tell you, for what the price is, someone like me, it's hard for me to go to the big conferences. I'm a dad. I have a family of 5. I get compensated, but to where you got to pay for the airplane. Then you got to pay for the fees. Normally, those fees are running like $900 for national conferences, just to be an attendee. Then your food. And you know that they charge you those big prices for food in those national conferences because you're in those big resorts, if they have anything good. Then you got to get a car. You got to get all of these different things. So that little conference, whether it be national, yeah, there's big rollers, like Mari said. But in the end, it's about the learning process, not who's there. And let me tell you, the first time that I saw this NCMLE, I'm like, wow, in North Carolina, this is big stuff. These are big names in a conference, and financially, it is something that makes me better and that I can afford. So don't put that in the back of your mind. I can only let you, as someone that is in the trench still, I'm still in the chair. I'm still an active principal for 33 years in education. And let me let you know that you need to find the right niche that will make you a better person and not become stagnant water. So in closing with that, I like to promote, get ready, guys. Get ready. As I always promote the same books, always. Dr. Superintendent Glenn Robbins, Calm in the Chaos, with Danny Bauer, who was here before. Danny, great guy, great. And you're going to need it. You're going to need it because the cheerleading mom, she's coming. Cheerleading tryouts. Well, you know that cheerleading tryouts are coming, right?
Yeah.
And why your daughter did not get selected? Cállate, you just lost 45 minutes. You're not going to get back. You better have the stoics on your side. Sean Kane, yours truly is 100% Fundamental 5. That is our framework for learning, helping EB students be successful. Kids that never had English before in America came to Texas to Memorial Pathway Academy and graduated with their Texas requirements. We have a lot of those kids using the Fundamental 5. And yours truly, and there's this other cat that's been on this, Barbara Bray's book, 23 Stories by 23 Educators. There's this guy with this quite very awesome voice that's in part of this book also. And Robert Hinchcliffe, 15 Stories by 15 Principals from across the United States. Yours truly in these 2 books. And in case you don't want to read and you're Audible, in this book right here, you could go buy it on Amazon. All the authors read their chapters. Ignore my chapter, buy the book for my chapter, but buy the Audible for that guy right there. He's going to read to you. You know what I'm talking. He's going to read to you, and then you're just going to fall in love. Greetings, Otis Kitchens from Florida. Thank you for being here. Charles, talk to us. Anything you got to push?
Yeah, first of all, appreciate that. I see Otis in the house. I want to say, hey, Otis, what's going on? I mentioned earlier one of the sessions, building stronger schools start with you. And it really is focused on my newest book. And this is the first book I've written as a solo. It's just really the work that I'm doing. I've taken everything that I've learned and poured it into this. And what I love about it, it's not massive. It is designed to be a short read. I talk about sugar-free speaking. It's stripping away all the fluff. I hate writing books where you're just saying the same thing over and over and over again, 32 different ways. Like, it just strips it down to the bare minimum and gives you some tools to say, how could you take this and now really apply it to your actual life? And so working on a few different things with that, even just practical living, but really that is the biggest thing that I have going on. I hope that you all come out to the sessions. I used to have all the things, right? The podcast and all, but because of some of this, what I talk about in here, I've really stripped it down and become extremely focused on the areas that I want to do. Just because you're doing a lot of things doesn't mean that you're having a lot of impact. And so really focusing the efforts of my work. And so again, I just want to say thank you. But before I jump off, well, before we continue on, I want to say something, because Chad said something and I probably misheard it, but I loved it, of collaboration. But I heard collaboration, and I was like, I love the fact that without a framework like a PLC, that collaboration may just be some collaboration. So Chad, there you go.
Nice, love it. Chad, talk to us. Anything out there for the public?
For the public, yeah. Well, I've written 3 books. The first is Let's Put the C in PLC. So that gets to the idea of community and professional learning community. And then I wrote an action guide for that. About a year ago, the Teacher Team Leader Handbook came out, and that's really the inspiration for the session that I'll be doing at NCMLE. That's Simple Habits to Transform Collaboration. And so that is out in the world. I've also this has been a lot of fun, inspired by the book, the Teacher Team Leader Handbook, reflecting on simple actions that we all can take to transform ourselves, relationships, and collaboration. Whether we're in education, whether we are not in education, whether we're parents, siblings, children, aunts and uncles, neighbors, it doesn't matter. There's things that we can reflect upon and act differently to transform ourselves in relationships and collaboration. And so I have started to create what I call 60-second simple habits tips. And that's it. They're no more than 60 seconds. Once a week, they're released out on YouTube, and they're little tips to help transform yourself, relationships, and collaboration. And they have to do with those 2 big buckets that I was talking about earlier: who you are as a person and what you do. Both matter, and they need to be in alignment with each other. 60-second simple habits tips.
What's the YouTube link? What's the channel name?
Yeah, it's tinyurl.com/simple habits tips. It's under my name, Chad Dumas, but tinyurl.com/simple habits tips. I'm totally excited. When I started doing these in July, I had 1 follower. That was my wife, and now I have like 93 guys. Like, this is like, I don't know, is that viral? I don't know. I still feel, now my wife has since unsubscribed, so I don't know if that says anything about it, but 93.
And you know what? And just so you all know, if you're out there, when I started listening to podcasts like 3 years ago, I was wondering, why does this happen? But along my journey of listening to so many different shows, I've been able to reach out and bring in speakers because I heard them on podcasts. And sometimes when you sit in the chair or you're a assistant principal, future principal, and you hear these things, you're like, oh, I need to find that. That's the niche that I need to address at this school in this district. So whenever you're hearing people promote their items, whatever it is, it's not about, trust me, more often than not, no one here is a millionaire. So I'm just letting you know, it's about helping you, person in Iowa, you, person in Nebraska, you, person in Idaho, to make sure that you're the best version of yourself for your scholars. Mm-hmm. Maverick!
Yep. Well, I got my 2 books here. First, I'm going to present on this. It's called Inquiring Minds Want to Learn, Posing Good Questions for Student Inquiry, to promote student inquiry, and teaches you how to not only phrase, but also pose the questions that get the kids comprehending, communicating deeper levels. Then is my book, Deconstructing Depth of Knowledge, which is almost on the way to becoming 10,000 copies sold. Wow. Pretty pleased with that. Also, I have a workshop. I'm also putting it in the chat here right now that I'm going to be doing in Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas. So if you're listening from Little Rock, Arkansas, that you can go sign up for that. And it's a 2-day workshop called Beyond the Basics, Teaching and Learning for Depth of Knowledge. And I'm also developing my own AI that's based on my work that basically the problem with AI is that AI is what's called open AI, and it's just pulling in flotsam and jetsam from everywhere. This is going to be a closed AI where you're going to be able to have the faith and trust that what you're getting and what AI is producing is from a credible source. So you're not just saying, what's the depth of knowledge of this standard? And you get it and you don't know why or how accurate it is. This is all going to be based on my work and books. And it's also going to be a coaching model tool where basically you can sit there as a principal, Josh, and you can say, hey, this teacher, they're struggling with this concept. How can I help them? Or even, oh, my teacher called out. They don't have any sub plans. I need emergency sub plans. Somebody who's coming in does not know any teaching. How can you put together one? So that's this AI platform I'm putting together.
Beautiful.
Called Maverick AI.
Maverick AI, love it. Greetings to my sister from South Carolina, Shika Houston. Muchas gracias for being here. I land at 6:30, ladies, so we're going to go break bread on Saturday. David, James, anything to close off right here for the conference?
Yeah, I just want to mention that the individuals here that were just talking about all their texts, we will have a book signing schedule up as well, and all 3 of their texts will be available for purchase, and the opportunity to meet them after their sessions and come and get their book signed. So that opportunity is part of the schedule, and that'll be great for our participants to be taken advantage of. I have not written a book. I've been part of different projects, but I would like to just plug the NCMLE journal. I'll put that link here in the chat as well. But the NCMLE journal is something that our organization is really proud of, and it is manuscripts and transcripts from different teachers across the state that are writing specifically for the middle level. It's all research based, and it's a resource that we provide all the educators across the state and beyond to sharpen their saw as far as that goes. So it's we release the journal twice a year. We have our new spring edition 2026 coming out right before the conference, so that'll be a big push as well. And we're really proud of that research and that professional development we provide for our participants across the state in text. So really cool. And I'll put that link in there as well for the NCMLE journal.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Awesome. Stick, Mari.
Okay, guys, last question. This is our last question for the night. And it's going to be super easy. And we're going to have Eric. Eric, we're going to start off with you. I'm telling you, it's easy because it's a fill in the blank question. So finish the sentence, Eric. Hey, educator, for the remainder of the year, I want you to blank.
Calm down and breathe.
Calm down and breathe. Love it. Love it. It's that time of year. So yeah, I hear you. I hear you. How about you, Charles?
Well, I was going to say exactly that. So great minds think alike, Eric.
There you go.
I'm gonna shift this and just say find that purple time. I remember one time talking about like finding that time that fills your bucket. Find the time to make sense of what you need to do for yourself. My wife is a middle school teacher, 20 plus years, so I completely get it. So like it's just find that time, put the lesson plans aside, put the grading aside, find some time for you because that's what you need.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Charles. David, how about you? Hey, educator, for the remainder of the year, I want you to
have fun.
Have fun. Yes, yes, yes. And Chad, finish us out, sir. Finish it out.
All right. Well, I was going to say what Eric said, and then I was going to say what Charles said, and then I was going to say what. So I guess it's lean on each other.
Lean on each other. It's such a nice way to wrap it up, Josh.
Exactly. And it's time for that lightning round. Lightning round. It's real quick. Maverick, real quick. Maverick. Chad, real quick. Charles, real quick. Other than question number 2, all right? It's not a dissertation. It's not War and Peace. It's a lightning round. It's a ganas. That's why it's called the PG. G is for ganas. That is the only word that connects every Hispanic around the globe. That's Guatemaltecos, Hondureños, Mexicanos, Puerto Ricanos, Cubanos. We're all connected with one word. Other than that, our foods are different. The way we talk, our speed is totally different. The words that we use are totally different, but one word is always a monolith for us. Ganas. That's a spiritual word that connects a grandma with her granddaughter. It is a spiritual word that a mom connects with her son. Échale ganas, mijo. So Maverick, yo quiero que tú le eches ganas. Here goes your questions. You ready?
Let's go. Do it.
Give advice to a new teacher.
Calm down and breathe.
Read a note, an email, or text from a parent, a colleague, or student that inspired you with their words.
I just got this note from a woman named Stefan, who's a professor out in New Jersey, and she really liked Inquiring Minds, wanted to learn, and she bought it for all her students to study in her class. So I want to thank her, Stefan Vavrasotis. I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but I just want to say thank you. That it really warms my heart to know that the next generation of teachers is gaining something from the work I put out there.
Send some flowers to an active colleague who inspires you, their name and their title.
Oh, Jennifer Osger. She does a lot of work with Appreciative Inquiry, and she's become a thought partner and a sounding board. So I really appreciate all her input and thoughts, and really helps me out a lot.
Name one person the audience should follow on social media. What is her
Paula
handle?
Maker.
What's her handle?
Oh gosh, I'm not even sure what her handle is. I don't think
That's
she's on
fine.
Twitter anymore. I know she's on LinkedIn. Paula
When you do
Maker.
your
Look
homework.
her up.
When you were in elementary, what luxury item did you want to purchase?
The Wayne Foundation from Mego, which was Batman's big home, I guess, his headquarters.
What was the first live concert you saw, and why did you choose that group or person?
Eddie Murphy in 1982 was the Delirious concert. I was 12 years old, and my mother sat next to me, tightening up every time he told a joke.
Which book changed your life? Who's the author?
Oh, gosh. I think recently, I would say The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. I'm really trying to work with that with schools to stop making short-term goals, make infinite goals that will help our kids rise to reach and go beyond expectations.
What is your favorite sci-fi movie or TV show?
Movies, Star Wars, TV, the classic Battlestar Galactica, and Buck Rogers in the 25th century. Showing my
How can
age.
the audience reach you?
You can go to my website at Maverick, Maverik, education.com, or you can go email me at Eric, Erik, at maverickeducation.com, or follow me on YouTube, maverickeducation.com. And the best Sylvester Stallone movie is Copland.
You just have to get it in there. I got you. Right? Yeah, what was that Rocky IV thing? David James, give advice to a new teacher.
Work hard and have a growth mindset.
Read a note, an email, a text from a parent, a colleague, or student that inspired you with their words.
I got a note this past week. I had a district office personnel walk through my ELA classroom, which I'm acting like an ELA classroom teacher this year, but and she said that I did a really good job scaffolding for my lower learners this week, and I really appreciated that targeted feedback from somebody way higher up than me.
Send some flowers to an active colleague who inspires you, their name and their title.
Flowers to Carly Mittag. She is my teammate on the 7th grade hallway. She is the Winkler Middle School Beginning Teacher of the Year. She is the NCMLE State Teacher of the Year. So you guys will all meet Carly here in a few weeks. She is a phenomenal teacher and human being.
Name one person the audience should follow on social media. What's their handle?
Yeah, NCMLE. Follow us at NC Middle Schools on Facebook and NC Middle on Instagram and Twitter. We are really, really active, and I hope we bring light and value to everybody across the country in the EDU space.
When you were in elementary, what luxury item did you want to purchase?
I talked to my best buddies from elementary school today, and they said I had to mention the old Walkman disc men that we put in our starter jackets. That was like, that means you were living the luxury life.
What was the first live concert you saw? Why that group? Why that person?
Again, real ironic. I talked to my mom today about this. Brooks and Dunn. I was a 90s country baby.
Which book changed your life? Who's the author?
Jimmy Casas's book, Culturized, changed the way I look at education. I'm a better professional because of that book. It's really, really inspiring.
What is your favorite sci-fi movie or TV show?
My wife, Erin, and I are currently watching Stranger Things.
How can the audience get a hold of you, senor?
I'm the brains behind the NCMLE social media, but you can follow me personally at Heroic History 22 on Twitter and Instagram.
Love it, Chad. Chad, vámonos. Give advice to a new teacher.
Advice: never stop learning.
Read a note, an email, a text from a parent, a colleague, a student that inspired you with their words.
Right here, my first or second year of teaching for Christmas exchange, got this from the custodian. It says, teamwork. Whatever our role, working together achieves results.
Eso. Send some flowers to an active colleague who inspires you. Name and title.
Chad Garber, superintendent. He's thoughtful, kind.
Name one person the audience should follow on social media. What's their handle?
Bill Ferreter on LinkedIn. He goes by William Ferreter. Unbelievable. Just search him, William Ferreter.
When you were in elementary, what luxury item did you want to purchase?
I wanted desperately. One of my friends down the street had this, those little electric Jeep cars that would go like half a mile an hour. And I think you had to like plug them in all day. And then you got 3 minutes of driving time. I never got one, but he had it. And I really wanted one.
What was the first live concert you saw and why that group? Why that person?
Eddie Rabbit. And the reason why is because I grew up in North Platte, Nebraska, a town of 20,000 people in Western Nebraska. There aren't a lot of concerts that come through Western Nebraska. He came through.
Which book changed your life? Who's the author?
Professional Learning Communities at Work by Rick DeFore and Bob Aker.
What is your favorite sci-fi movie or sci-fi TV show?
Oh, it's got to be a sci-fi TV show? Because my favorite TV show is Schitt's Creek. Can I just go? That's kind of got science in it.
That's fine. How can the audience get a hold of you? I'm glad you said the word correctly.
In the words of the great Indiana football coach Kurt Signetti, Google me. There's two Chad Dumases. One is a real estate agent in Kansas City. I'm not him. I'm the other one. Just Google my name. That's
got it. Y señor, gracias, señor Chad. Señor Carlos Williams, let's do this real quick. Give advice to a new teacher.
Yeah, don't let servitude turn into like sacrificial. Do not become a martyr for this work. Take care of yourself.
Read a note, an email, a text from a parent, a colleague, or student that inspired you with their words.
So I don't have the note. I was thinking about this, but this past Christmas, I was at my wife's Christmas party, and one of her staff members walks in, her colleague. Lo and behold, it's one of my student when I was a first year principal. And I remember apologizing to her saying, I'm so sorry, because you got to experience the worst of my leadership. And she was like, you were phenomenal. And she just poured right back into me. And so it really anchored me on how we focus on all the negativity, but she didn't remember any of that.
Love it. Jefe, we see you, Jefe. Welcome to the show. We know you're watching the rebroadcast. Send some flowers to an active colleague who inspires you. Name and title.
Man, if I'm going to send flowers to an educator, it better be my wife, Lorena. So shout out to Lorena, middle school EL teacher in Hammond, future site of the Bears at Scott Middle School. Love you for all the work that you're doing. She just won an award for this work, but she's one of those that are like, I'm going to stay out of the spotlight. So kudos to you, babe.
Name one person the audience should follow on social media. What's their handle?
Yeah, Clinton Spatos. And I know you're like, who is this guy? But he's this cooking dad that does these meals from Aldi. So I love him because he gives me lots of great ideas.
When you were in elementary, what luxury item did you want to purchase?
I was thinking about the Walkman with the skit protect, but my thing was the Lamborghini Murcielago that was on the book fair posters. That was my car. I never have it, but yeah.
What was your first live concert you saw and why that group or person?
It was a B96 bash. I don't remember if it was a summer or winter, but in Chicago, B96 was the station. So you had to go to the bashes.
Which book changed your life? Who's the author?
Most recently, Essentialism by Greg McCown.
What is your favorite sci-fi movie or sci-fi TV show?
Black Mirror. Creepy.
Facts. How can the people out there in the world get a hold of you, senor?
Find me. I was going to say like Chad, just Google me, but there's a lot of Charles Williamses. But you could do the @_ Mr. C. Williams. You'll find me. I'm across all the socials.
Thank you, panel, for being here today, promoting this awesome and great conference that it feels so warm, so appreciated when you walk in through that little hallway in the hotel and you got that little section, the big ballroom and the little breakout rooms, very comfortable. All the people there, do you need help? Join them, find the speakers, because you know what? It's in your best interest, because you know what? In the end, as I said earlier, education, we're broke. We don't have a lot of money, but all of this stuff is free. What they spoke about today, you could extend it out to the different avenues. Their Edutopia, Education Week, their podcast, the books that they have. You could purchase all of this knowledge and not, shed $10,000 going to a conference. They are here for you. We're all here for you. All of these different shows are here for you, especially this great conference. Remember, guys, you're not alone. You can reach out to, I can tell you, you can reach out to anybody on this panel and they will respond to you. 97% of all educators will reach out. That 3%, they're interesting, but 97%, they will reach out to you and they will create an ongoing communication conversation with you, because we all know how hard it is. We all have been in that trench. We've all dealt with that softball mom that ate all the cookie dough and does not want to pay for the cookie dough, but still wants to take the trip. We all have dealt with those kind of situations, and we want to tell you, you're not alone. You're not alone. You choose to be alone. So enhance your knowledge. Keep on growing by attending conferences, purchasing books, listening to podcasts, because we all know that we're in it together. And you know what? We're only stronger together, because iron sharpens iron. And we need you to be part of this beautiful profession, the profession that creates all the other professions, education. And join us next week for our superintendent roundtable number 4. Superintendents coming and join us and giving us their thoughts on education. Thank you very much. Panel, say goodbye. And hold up. Don't hang up, panel. Thank you, everybody. Like and share. Like and share.